Hello everyone, this is AI Critic. I am a simple adventurer on a quest to demystify AI, and I'm going to do this through hardcore programming and criticizing AI. So, last video, last video we I showed you a little bit about myself and a little bit about what makes me tick, what I like. So about the programming and whatnot. This video, this video, we will actually begin the journey to uncover and understand what an AI is. So, so to do all this, from a point of not knowing, like like where I am. Uh, we, uh, I need to start reading, and um, I've started with this book, which is quite good, not very informative, but it's got some quite good information about neural networks and so forth, so forth. Let's read together. Um, so, so what is this? Um, why are we talking about neural networks? Well, to understand an AI, to actually produce an AI, um, neural networks are the key things behind it. So, um, yeah, let's start. Let's start. So, there's some historical background. I'm not going to cover this in the video, but that is quite interesting. If you want to have a read, I will drop this later. Now, this is quite interesting. So, mm, this sort of outlines what we're going to do in actually producing the AI. So, mm, we need to combine some input variables and put them in a nonlinear function, nonlinear relationship, and um, to give us test output values, which can then be compared to the um, actual desired outputs, and um, then we can change the inputs accordingly. Um, However, well, this doesn't explain much. Let's move on. So, um, right, how do we combine these? We combine them with weights, and we have the inputs, and then we put all of that in a nonlinear function give to give our output values. Um, this this is essentially how it works. Now, the nonlinear function that um, we can choose anything that we want. We can choose anything that we want. Why is it a nonlinear function? Um, if you look back here, you see that the inputs are all combined linearly. So if the function was linear, that wouldn't really mm, change anything in proportion. So That's why it's a nonlinear function. If that makes sense. Now, in this video, I'm going to actually um, go on the first steps to producing an AI, and for this, I'm going to need to choose a nonlinear function for myself, and the one that I want to use is this sigmoidal neuron, but not exactly. I'm gonna use a simpler function, and that's this one over here. So this is the tanh function, and it gives an output between -1 and 1. Mm, I've I'm using this one because I've read um, that it's been used quite a lot in this book that I showed you. Mm, but anyhow, so essentially, I'm going to use the tanh function, and now we're going to need to think about how all of this is going to work and combine. This is essentially what I've been talking about. So, mm, right. So, neural networks they go through uh, quite a few intermediate steps before the output, which I'm reading. So, well, there's that. This is going to be quite difficult to program. So I'm going to need to simplify the model quite a bit when I get started, and we also we also need to think about how we're going to change the weights. It's not the inputs that we're changing in the program itself. The inputs are given, so we've got inputs and outputs, and then um, we need the weights. It's the weights that changes in the AI, and this this gives an output that is closer to what we want. So now we've got to think about mm, how does this change? How are we going to choose a value um, for this? And this thing was quite complicated for me because I've just started reading this, and um, mm, I'm going to need to go through all this in a um, future video part. So now it goes to talk about training. Let's let me show you what I've done on the basis of this. So mm, what I've essentially done is to give get inputs um, and weights, and sort of record how the output values change. It's all quite self-explanatory. This is just validation. This is validation, but for a float, and let's talk about how I've simplified the model. So mm, now I'm using integers as the inputs because just because it's gonna be simpler like that. And in an actual AI, they take in things like color and other stuff, and mm, color will have a binary number attached to it. Um, so it will be an integer essentially, and that's some of my reasoning why I've used integers for that. Now I've set the weights to 1 initially because as you've seen, it is a linear combination, and the most simple linear combination is just adding up the inputs, and um, then then I'm not entirely sure about the backtracking algorithm. So I've just made a database list, which is essentially going to be a list of dictionaries. It's going to show all the different scenarios, all the different situations where mm, the uh, inputs and outputs change, and um, the weights don't need to be included in this because I think the weights don't need to be included in this because um, we're going to be we're going to be changing um, the weights all through, and um, then maybe looking back on the database and sort of seeing how they change. Um, so so and then we've got and then I'm going to loop to go through inputs and outputs that you can put in, um, and so on and so forth. Now, for the nonlinear function, I've chosen the tanh function. I've shown you a graph of that. You know how that looks. And um, from each of the inputs, I'm going to get a test output. And then um, essentially, in future, I'll need to think about things like the error in the test output, and the desired output, of course. And then I'll need to change the waitlist and bias. This is all quite complex for me so far. I haven't actually thought of a way to do that. One way that I've thought is that we can find the optimal weights to give the closest answers um, to um, from each of the inputs to the outputs in each of the dictionaries in the database. Mm, but yeah, I'll need more. I'll need to read more on this. Like as I said in the last video, I haven't actually mm, I haven't actually created an AI before. I'm not entirely sure how this works. I'm not a computer scientist. I'm just a programming enthusiast. So this code is um, fairly fairly simple. We give the number of inputs. Let's say that's 3, and then we'll give a first initial desired output. Let's put that as 0.5, and then I'll put the inputs as 2, 2, and 3, and we've got this, and further we can look at all the database and change all of this. Comment in the chat if you think I'm on the right road to um, the right road of thought to actually create an AI. Now I'll show you something I've done 2 or 3 years ago, when I just heard about neural networks. I wasn't quite sure what they were, but from what people were saying, I was told that there is some random element. So um, for this next code, um, like last time, because I've done it long time ago, I'm not exactly sure about all the parts, but this is quite short, so it is it isn't too bad to explain. So if we run this, I'm going to put some strings like hello, and then this is going to randomly cut the strings into smaller chunks, and if we carry on, this is if we carry on, so it's going to do the same thing for the other thing. Now, at this point, like a few years ago, I didn't really understand what an AI was. I I knew that there was some sort of bias, some sort of weights. So essentially, I'm going to change the weights when some of these string snippets match. Let's try to demonstrate that. Uh, uh, okay, so now it has found some similarities. I'm not going to actually try and find which one of these strings are the ones that are similar, but here we are, and this is what I tried a few years ago. Compare this to what I've done just now, and and I encourage you to compare and comment which sort of method looks more interesting to creating an AI, and hopefully I'm on the right track to doing that. Now, that's all for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Because next video, I'm already going to be moving on to the second thing I said this video. It was criticizing AIs. So I am going to pick out a video to show you guys, and I'm going to show you what the AI could have done better and what not. Um, that will be fun to watch. So stay tuned and see you there.